What's going on, Jeromes? We are back for another beautiful, gorgeous Q&A edition. We need to get better at keeping up with Q&A. I know that you guys submit questions on the community tab, and we have to respect the energy you put in and get to more of them. So we're going to do that. I say that, and we'll probably just do one. I don't know, man. But diving on in here. So first off, RH. How do you keep Brian Flores here long-term and build a multi-year contender? Pay the man. So there's a couple factors. A couple unique factors with Flores. Like, this isn't your traditional, your coordinator gets hot, gets a head coaching job situation. Flores did good things in Miami, but at the end of the day, the environment down there with the owner, it just wasn't going to work out, right? The lawsuit looms. The comments from Tua, owners will take that to heart, and fan bases will take that to heart, because if Flores gets another head coaching job, obviously he's going to have a relationship with his quarterback. Now, I do think that, partly, I'm sure that Flores was in the wrong at times too, but also I think that he's really learned and grown from this, and you see how his players here with the Vikings, especially on defense, they adore this man. They are willing to go to war for him, and yeah, I do think that coaches are allowed to improve, because you look at Belichick with Cleveland and then Belichick versus New England, right? And coaches are allowed to get better. Just look at Kevin O'Connell. Like, look at him 2022. The Vikings went 13-4, but O'Connell was still trying to find his way both as a head coach and a play caller. Now look where he is currently at. And I do think that Flores deserves another head coaching gig, but I don't know if that's going to happen because of the lawsuit, because of Tua, and teams may just be like, we're just going to go with a hot offensive coordinator. Also, Flores' defensive background will be held against him. Even as good as the Vikings defense is, there's an inherent I'm trying to think of the right word. Like, there's inherent disadvantage for being a defensive-minded head coach. Like, maybe that's not the correct word. Mike McDonald's obviously doing great things with the Seahawks, but it's still an offensive league, right? Even though numbers are down across the league, and having your head coach be an offensive play caller, or at least have offensive background, has continuity on that side of the ball, versus a defensive-minded head coach. If your offense is worth two issues, then your OC is going to get a job. So it's going to be rotating through. But Flores, there's no salary cap for coaches, so pay Flores head coaching money. I'm perfectly fine with that. Also, you do have to factor into, I don't know if Flores would want to coach college. I think that he would be great as a college head coach, but I think that the job that he would want would be his alma mater, Boston College, and Bill O'Brien is doing pretty good things there with the Golden Eagles, so maybe that door is closed. But yeah, pay him whatever he needs. And you don't need to give him like assistant head coach title. I don't even think Flores cares about stuff like that. Just have him run the defense, de facto head coach of the defense, and he works very well with Kevin O'Connell. They have a great working relationship, which is fantastic, because you see too often, especially when both sides of the ball are doing well, like, egos really do get involved. You look at Buddy Ryan and Mike Ditka with the Bears and stuff, and you see it all over the place, sniping between coordinators, head coach. But Flores genuinely seems to love it here, and we love having him here. Also factor in, so his kids, this is part of coaching too, where we talked about this before, where coaching is a very nomadic profession. You go from place to place to place to place to place, but sometimes, like, a coach who will bounce around will stay in place for an extended period of time, like 4, 5, 6 years. And if you think about it, it's so his kids can stay in the same school, right? So especially middle school, high school years, when they're really forming friendships, and you don't want to have to move, make new friends. That can be hard on kids. That's one of the things behind the scenes that isn't really talked about in NFL coaching or for NFL players. Like, it's really hard on the family life. And Flores, beyond the Dolphins and his 1 year with the Steelers and Tomlin, he was a lifer in New England. All right, so he is used to stability. And if he's not going to get a head coaching job, and especially he's not going to take a job just to take a job. Like, I think he learned that from the Dolphins situation. Like, it's got to be the perfect situation. So if that comes up, hats off to him, respect. Always love and respect Brian Flores, but I think that he could be here for a while under his own volition, and the Vikings need to compensate him thusly. So basically, it comes down to just pay him. Halibut, This team truly believes that they can beat anyone, and they honestly can. The world isn't ready for a Darnold team being the best, but it's happening. Which is kind of fair. Like, honestly, who around the NFL scares you right now? Seahawks are going to be tough. Chiefs, the Chiefs can get got. And the Bills look like a freight train right now. I was wrong. I mean, Josh Allen is a freaking monster. All right, but other than that, like, who really scares you around the league? No one. Who scares you in the NFC besides maybe the Seahawks? No one. Right? And a lot of people are looking at the Vikings like this defense is hell offensively. They're racking up and stacking up points. They can run the ball, and they're physical in all aspects. And it's a really good team right now. And also, they're getting guys back. Like, imagine this team at full health. Let's go. Supercore, speaking of health, how much better will this team be when fully healthy? It's really insane how good the Vikings look without several key players. So they put the bank thing on Houston without Pace, even though obviously Grugier Hill was a great stand-in. Hockenson is going to be back. Now, Muntis had a couple decent catches, had that touchdown against Houston. Oliver's had a couple of nice grabs as well. But, I mean, Hockenson is a top 3 tight end, and he's not 3. And having him back, that's going to be glorious. Addison obviously is a tier 1 wide receiver 2, but even when he gets back, like Jalen Speedy Naylor needs to stay involved, and we said that a bunch. But when he gets back, also Reisner back for depth along the interior offensive line, where you have a viable option if you want to sit Ed Ingram. It's going to be huge. It's going to be key, man. Next. Ben Block. Could we see an MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, and Defensive Player of the Year from this team this year, the way that they're playing? I think Kevin O'Connell is the front runner for Coach of the Year, certainly. MVP for Darnold, like, he would have to start ripping the cover off the ball, but I don't think that he necessarily has to do that. But also I think that Josh Allen is probably the runaway MVP at this moment in time. Offensive Player of the Year, I mean, you could make a case for Jefferson down the line, certainly. And Defensive Player of the Year, it's hard to pick out a single guy on this defense because they all have elite games. Like, it goes back and forth. Is it Patrick Jones? Is it Cashman? Is it Grenard? And every single week someone steps up, and that's great. That's freaking awesome, man. And this is truly a deep and multiple team defense, and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. Lastly, Alexandre Tourte. How does the GM and his team pick players to draft or free agents to sign? Is 100% coaches and the GM team figures out the money and salary cap contract negotiation? How's it work? So for the Vikings now, it is a true collaboration. All right. So you have college scouts scour the country. We're on the road, working their ass off right now. Area scouts, director of college scouting, all that stuff. They give reports, evaluations. Kwesi is going to be traveling to, and has been traveling to, some of these college games, checking out potential prospects. And then, of course, you get into the pro days and the Senior Bowl and the Combine, and et cetera. And it really is a collaboration because Brian Flores has even said where he and the defensive coaching staff, they self-scout. They look for what they need specifically on the defense, and then they try to reverse engineer a player that would fit, whether it's in the draft, whether it's in free agency. Same thing with Kevin O'Connell and the offense, and they basically have a wish list and a collaboration with Kwesi, and I mean, they're not in the business side of things. And Kwesi and Rob Brzezinski, they've done an amazing job with the cap over the last couple of years. They've gotten some great bargain steals and getting guys who fit into what you want to scheme. Because to a degree, yes, a coach should fit his scheme to his player's talent. But if you can have the player talent fit into the scheme or find the perfect role and that accentuates that player's best attributes, yes. So you look at AVG, you look at Cashman, you look at Grenard, you look at Shaq, you look at Gilmore, and they're not premium free agents in terms of cash, although Grenard is kind of up there, but also they sync up perfectly with what they want to do on defense. And then same thing offensively. I mean, things are looking really damn good. All right, so I do, because there are teams where it is the GM picks the players and then the coaches coach them up, and then there isn't really that communication. I mean, look at Zimmer and Spielman like the last year. Basically, after the Jefferson pick, that was the last time that the two jabronis smiled together. But this is why this roster is deep, and I think that Kwesi, a lot like Kevin O'Connell, was really finding his way as a GM over the first couple of years. I mean, he admitted that He was trying to find that 35-point play, but just racking up and stacking up talent, and you see the depth of this team. You see how they're operating even without 4 starters on Sunday against the Texans. So it's pretty damn amazing, man. But that's it. Q&A for this beautiful, wonderful Tuesday. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skol production value.